If you've watched my recent videos, you've seen that I've done a lot of content about the new products that have been released that are at a really low price point but bring a ton of value, right? So the new MadVR Core, you've got the Kaleidoscape Strato V, both devices that are top tier gear that have come down 50% in price. Well, today we're going to talk about another product that comes in at an amazing price point, $2,000, that brings a ton of technology, and that's the ONKYO TX-RZ70. This thing is an absolute monster, and I'm going to tell you all about it. The question you have to ask yourself is, why would you buy this processor, this AVR, right? What's in it for you, right? So when you plop down your $2,000, what's the reasoning? Well, to get to that, let's look at the features, right? And we're going to go over kind of the at the macro level the features, then we'll jump in and look at the front and back and all that kind of stuff. But if you've got an 11 channel theater, so if you're running maybe 7 bed layer channels and then 4 Atmos, 4 heights, and a couple of subwoofers, and you don't want additional external amplification, that's why you buy this one, right? So that's number one, right? This thing does 11 channels with 2 independently tuned subwoofers, and it tunes with Dirac, right? And that's important because Dirac is amazing. It's really, really good. And speaking of the power, you can look at all the ratings and it will show you how much it does into 2 channels and that kind of thing. Well, the thing you really want to know is how much power does it put out into 11 channels, right? Because if you buy this thing, you're really not going to buy this to power 2 channels, and you're not really going to buy this to power 5 or 7, right? You're buying this because you want 11 channel AVR that you don't have to have external amplification for. Now, I don't have a way to measure it here. However, I've done a lot of research, and what it looks like is with all channels driven, all 11 channels driven, you're going to be somewhere between 100 and 125 watts a channel, somewhere in there, right? So, you might be saying, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot, right? This is in this price range, likely the most powerful AVR that you can possibly buy. This thing is absolutely bananas powerful. I run this without external amplification as I've been testing it in my theater. No problems whatsoever. Super, super happy. Plays louder than I would ever hope to. And this is like on complete 3-way speakers all the way around, right? The Atmos, left, right, center, all the surrounds, all 3-way, double eights all over the place. This thing absolutely handles it, no problem. Let's talk resolutions. This will do 8K 60. It'll do 8K 30, 8K 24 as well. If you can find any true 8K content to feed through it. It also does 4K 120, low latency, game mode, all that kind of stuff is completely baked in and ready, tested with gaming, works really well. No problems with Xbox, PlayStation, PC, all those things. Super smooth. Dolby Vision, HDR 10, 10 plus, all of the high dynamic range passes through here. No problem for this system. Works great. HDMI 2.1, HDCP 2.3. Uh, really nice. No problems with any of those types of inputs. Super duper important feature is the Dirac full bandwidth built in. And if you want to, you can buy the live bass control as an upgrade. It does independently tune 2 subwoofers. So you can do a 7.2.4 system, all channels independently tuned by Dirac. And I've done that and it sounds awesome. One feature that might be useful to some of you, just depends on your ecosystem that you're swimming in, is the Klipsch Optimize mode. Now, Onkyo and Klipsch are now part of the same company, so there is optimization if you're using Klipsch speakers, where you can have it automatically kind of understand where your crossovers need to be and that kind of stuff from the model number of the speaker. Might be useful, might not be useful, just depends on what your speakers are. So this unit can stream just about everything. But for me, the number one most important piece for music for streaming is Rune Ready, right? So Rune finds this automatically, and I can then just play music with Rune through this into the system 2.1 or 2.0, depending on what I'm looking to do. Absolutely wonderful. Sounds great. Perfect. This is a must have feature on anything at this level, and it's got it. Now we're going to talk about the accessories that come in the box. So inside of the big box, you'll have this little blue box. It's very blue. And inside of here, you'll have all your pieces. So you've got a remote control, nothing special here, just a standard remote. You've got AM and FM antennas, which I did not install, but they come here. You have the microphone, and this is not what I would consider to be the highest of quality microphones. It actually looks very similar to the one that comes with the Primaire AVR 2, but I'm going to give this a shot, and I think maybe I can use a different mic and get better results, but we'll see how that goes. There's a power cable, and this is a 2-prong cable. If you have 3-prong cables, you can use those just fine, but 2-prong. And then there is a instruction booklet, some batteries, and you can see direct live bass control if you want to invest in that as well. All right, so that's all the stuff in the box. Now we're going to take a look at the front of the RZ70, and we'll start here on the left-hand side. So you've got your on and standby button. You've got a pure audio button here, which is kind of cool. It's very silver and very clicky. You have a listening mode selector and a tone selector, and then you can move these around, right? This is also, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's a clicky as well. All right, on the right-hand side, you've got a huge volume button, and then you have your input selectors here, Blu-ray disc, gain, cable. Those are all assignable. You have Bluetooth, network stuff, tuner, if you actually have this plugged up for radio. And then you have your different zones, off, 2, 3. Now, here behind this grandiose sticker that's showing all of the different features of the unit, you actually get to more stuff. So there's the sleep, dimmer, HDMI out, info setup, a D-pad, so to speak, here. Headphone jack, if you ever, I don't know anybody that actually uses headphones with these things, but maybe, I mean, you can plug it in here if you want to. Quick menu there, and then controls for the menu. There's an aux input for HDMI on the front, which is awesome. I really love having this here. The setup mic, when you're going to use Dirac, will plug in there. And then you have the whole house mode and music optimizer buttons as well. And then this has a nice smooth flip up motion to get you closed. Now, this feels like a nice aluminum front. It's not plastic. It's cool to the touch. I think this is a very imposing looking unit, right? It's maybe austere to a certain extent, right? It's not stylishly designed, but when you look at it, it gives you that feeling of, man, this thing's going to do something. And at 140 watts a channel and 11.2, it can do a lot. Now we're going to take a look at the rear of the unit, and there's a lot going on, but we're going to unpack as much as we can here. So first up, you've got your AM and FM inputs. There's a little port here that's for ONKYO. I really don't know what this does. I've never used it before, but it's there, and it says see the instructions to know what it does. You've got digital inputs. So if you have a something like a CD player and you want to use the DAC inside of this unit rather than an analog in, you can use these 4 different inputs. Now, across the top, we've got a set of HDMI inputs and outputs. So you've got the output side here. This is all HDCP 2.3, 8K on your main and your sub output. Your main also has ARC and eARC, and then you have a 4K Zone 2 output. On the input side, you've got 6 different HDMI inputs, and these are all 8K HDCP 2.3 capable, which is really cool. You've got component inputs, and I want to use this for a Laserdisc player. So if there's anybody out there who's got an extra Laserdisc player that you have no use for, send it my way. I'll send you my address. I've been trying to find one, and this I think would be perfect to test out a Laserdisc player. I've got a bunch of Laserdiscs, just no player. You also have Streambox 1 and CableSat 2 in. Of course, you can plug in anything that you want to on the video side there, and you notice that those are yellow. You've got audio in, and you have phono left and right, and a ground here, which I assume you would use for that phono input as well. Then 1, 2, 3 more, 4 more sets of inputs, analog inputs here as well. This next section in white, these are all outputs. So you've got a Zone 2 or Zone B line out, analog output. You got Zone 3 output, and then you've got a full set of RCA outputs for your front, left, right, center, surrounds, heights, surround back, heights too. And let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What that means is that you can use this as a processor if you want to. You don't need to use any of this power. You've got a full set of pre-outs for all 11 channels, including the two subwoofers over here. So this is a very flexible unit. So you can purchase this unit, put 2 grand in, use the amplification, and then later on buy a different set of amplifiers that you might prefer for one reason or another, and then use these outputs. Or you can mix and match. Maybe you just want to do the LCR with an external amplifier. Well, you can do that as well. Or maybe you need to do something different for heights or whatever it might be. It's super flexible to be able to use powered outputs and then the low-level analog outs for external amplification. Now to continue over here, Ethernet, that's obviously got USB power. Then for control, you've got RS-232. Now you can also do control over Ethernet. Then you've got your IR in and then your 12-volt trigger out. The last pieces are your antenna and your AC inlet. The installation of the unit is very straightforward. So if you've ever installed a AVR processor before, you won't have any problems with this one. They're all the normal connections. So you'll plug in your speakers, make sure you plug them to the right spot. You're going to have power. You're going to have all of your HDMI inputs and outputs. Remember, use those THX certified cables. Those are my favorites. And that's really it for the basic install. Now, if you want to plug in your record player, if you want to do some external CD transports, all that kind of stuff, absolutely can do that. And you also get to choose between using Wi-Fi or Ethernet. I go with Ethernet myself just because I have it installed. If you don't, the Wi-Fi is great. But that's it. It's really super easy to deal with, except it's heavy. Right. So as you can see, I struggle a bit getting this thing in. I put it on the bottom rack, the bottom shelf there, and it's got some heft to it. This is a very weighty piece of gear, and it feels like it's ready to rock and roll because this thing is ready to rock and roll. I'm not going to run through the entire setup because it's quite lengthy. If you've ever set up an ONKYO before, well, this is much like any other ONKYO that you've ever set up. Just run through everything. The difference is going to be when you get to the Dirac setup. You need to set up Dirac using another device. I used a laptop to do it. You can try an iPad or an iPhone. Those are options, but for me, it's always worked best using a specific piece of good equipment. And from that point of view, I mean a laptop. I would strongly recommend watching a tutorial on how to set up Dirac before you take it on. It's not as easy as the, kind of lower end tuning tools that you find in processors, AVRs. Dirac is a high end piece of gear and it's not super intuitive how to use it. And you'll want to check that out. But I promise you, once you run it, it's going to sound good. It's a really powerful tool. Other than that, setup's really straightforward. The tool allows you to make sure that you've got all your speakers hooked up to the right connections, get everything lined up and then tuned really, really well. Now let's get down to brass tacks and would I buy this or not? And the answer is absolutely I would, but that's going to be a qualified absolutely I would. So it really comes down to a handful of things that you need to think about for your theater, right? So if you don't need 11 channels, buy something smaller. Right, just get something smaller. It'll save you some cash. You don't need the extra channel count unless you need the extra channel count. And if you do, then absolutely think about this unit. The next decision you need to make is, do you want an AVR or a processor, right? And this is where you're going to get into a big change in money, right? So for this unit, which you can find for $2,000, I know it shows 2,700 or whatever on the website, but you can Google this up, and I'll have links down below. $2,000 with plenty of power. And by plenty, I mean 100-ish watts when everything's going full tilt, right? If you need more power than that, then, well, maybe you need to think about external amplification. And if you need more power than that, maybe you want to go into processor world, and maybe you need to be thinking about spending 10 grand instead of two. I think for 95% of the home theater folks out there that are going to run a 7.2.4 environment, this is going to be more than you would ever need. And it does 8K and it's up to date, all those things. So it's a really, really, really good investment. You get a ton of performance for that 2 grand. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, if you're going to build a theater and you want to go top end, you can buy this unit for 2 grand. You can buy a video processor for about 5. You could buy a Kaleidoscape for about 5. That's 5, 10, 12 grand. And you've got everything except your speakers and then your display device. That is absolutely amazing. The money that you have to spend for the technology that you can get today has really dropped. And I'm really excited about that. So, I give this thumbs up now. Cons, what cons can I pull out for this thing? Maybe you might want a little more power, but this is at the top end of what you can get out of a 11 channel AVR. I mean, think about 11 channel external amplifiers that you buy. They're huge. They're massive, right? This is class AB power, right? So it's not class D. It sounds good. The DACs in the unit are really nice. They sound really good. Maybe a downside is that if you want the full bass control, that is an additional purchase on the license. So there's a little bit of money there that you have to put out. It'd be nice if that were included, but not everybody wants to do that. So I do like that it's an option, although man, if you could just throw it in, why not, right? You know, put it in for the same price, that would be better, right? That would be better. But that's about all I can come up with as a knock for the system. Plenty of inputs, plenty of outputs, good sound, great power, all the features that you could ever want. And like I said, from a really good brand at a really good price. All right, that's it. I give it 2 thumbs up. It's a really great piece of equipment. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like this one, check out the other video that I'm going to have linked down here. It'll pop up on the screen for you. Check that one out. I think you'll like it as well. Watch that one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that now. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things, and I'll see you in the next video.